Trump show Ray as a massive security operation swings into action.
A 16-year-old boy stabbed in a supermarket car park.
A plea for kids to be vaccinated against the flu after the death of a child.
And a hero's welcome for the Navy SEALs who helped in the Thai cave rescue.
This is NBN News with Paul Lobb and Natasha Beyersdorf.
Good evening. Donald Trump has touched down in the UK for the first time as US president, with England's biggest security operation since the 2011 riots underway.
Huge numbers of protesters are threatening to disrupt his visit, but nothing could overshadow the Trump's first event at the magnificent Blenheim Palace.
A dinner party like no other. All the pomp, pageantry and military might that the British establishment can muster. America and its supposed greatest ally, hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder. Donald Trump was in his element and he lapped it all up. A black-tie dinner at the birthplace of one of his greatest heroes, Sir Winston Churchill. This is the kind of welcome Trump loves. But it's not the only one he got. If the palace was a sanctuary of calm, outside was bedlam.
People call him a child, but most children could actually have a better sense of judgment than he could.
They were waiting, watching, following.
This is the reception the US president can expect on every step of his tour. Huge crowds of angry Britons protesting everything from his stance on women to his immigration policies.
Trump's team has gone to great lengths to avoid these scenes and imposters. It may be just a 4-day visit to the UK, but the numbers are staggering. Some 750 hotel rooms have been booked for Trump's staff. He'll get around in 2 planes and 6 helicopters. On the road, he'll be surrounded by a 22-vehicle motorcade, while he hunkers down inside the 7-seat presidential limousine known as the Beast. It's Trump's tank, a bomb-proof, fully sealed chamber, complete with oxygen tanks, tear gas launchers and machine guns. And the police. There'll be 10,000 out on the streets. But the biggest number will be the protesters. 100,000 people are expected to march past London's most famous landmarks in just a few hours' time, carrying a simple message. President Trump, go home.
A walk to Woolworths for a soft drink has ended with a 16-year-old boy in hospital with serious injuries. The teenager was stabbed by a stranger in a Sydney supermarket car park. Helping him in those critical first moments was an off-duty nurse doing her groceries.
Sacrificing his left hand to shield his body from a razor-sharp blade, this heavily bandaged teen is nursing terrible wounds. His traumatised younger brother and friend watching on after Harrison Longbottom was stabbed by a complete stranger.
I just saw some kids screaming, and at first I thought they were mucking around, and then I heard him just scream out, I've been stabbed, help me. And I walked over and there was just blood all over the floor.
Racing from their nearby home to the car park behind Balmain Woolworths, the 16-year-old's distraught parents are comforted, like police, desperate for answers about the unprovoked attack.
Look, it's a pretty ferocious attack, and certainly it's not something that would normally occur in this area.
Harrison was asked for a cigarette lighter, and when he couldn't provide one, the man knifed him in the stomach, piercing his liver and several arteries. The force of the stabbing breaking bones in his left hand as he raised it in self-defense.
He said, I don't know where he came from or who he was. He just came out of nowhere.
Working in the victim's favour was the fact an off-duty emergency department nurse was inside grabbing her groceries and was able to render first aid in those first critical seconds after the stabbing. As Harrison Longbottom underwent 2 lots of surgery today, detectives door-knocked while riot squad officers searched surrounding streets for a weapon.
We're seeking any neighbours nearby or any people who might have been driving in the area that have dashcam footage.
The armed offender is described as being in his late 20s with a solid build, ginger hair and a red jumper. He was last seen fleeing the area with a woman. Tim Davies, NBN News.
A Liberal MP has resigned from the party in disgrace after being caught in a sting by the state's Corruption Commission. He was recorded apparently soliciting kickbacks for brokering property deals with Canterbury Council.
The member for Wagga Wagga, Darryl Maguire, a long way from home. The Liberal MP, the centre of a corruption inquiry into Canterbury Council.
How much money did you make?
Mr Maguire was quizzed about his role in brokering property deals with Canterbury councillor Michael Hawat for Chinese developers. A phone call between the two was secretly taped by ICAC.
My client is mega big and got mega money and wants 2 or 3 DA approved projects right now, today.
One of the projects discussed was worth $48 million. The conversation then turned to commission for both Maguire and Hawat.
If he's going to give you 1.5%, that's not enough. Well, 1.5% isn't enough divided by 2, if you know what I'm telling you.
Mr Maguire was asked what that meant. An interested person would have to share in a dividend, he said. Who was the interested person, Maguire was asked. Well, I suspect it was me. A second recording was played between the pair after Councillor Hawat had met with a developer who was willing to sell property to Maguire's Chinese friends.
This will be very worthwhile for us, but he's got to do 3%, so... He's willing to work on that.
Maguire told the inquiry, despite his intentions, none of these deals eventuated and was not paid.
I've caused embarrassment and disappointment to a lot of people, and for that I sincerely apologise.
Labor wants a scalp.
This man should be flung out of office.
Newcastle police are investigating after a 5-year-old girl was approached by a man and kissed on the cheek in a park at Hamilton. The stranger fled when the child's carer came to her aid around 10 a.m. in Gregson Park yesterday. The man, described as about 180 centimetres tall with dark hair and a beard, left the scene in a silver Mercedes.
Newcastle Diggers Club is accustomed to making a profit, but not this year. Its treasurer says things have gone downhill since light rail work took over Scott Street, and now the club is looking to join in legal action against the state government.
Work aimed at revitalising Newcastle, but some businesses argue it's destroying them.
It survived world wars, the depression, the earthquake, but we're struggling to survive the rejuvenation of Newcastle.
Newcastle Diggers Club opened in 1917. Up until the closure of Newcastle Railway Station, it was making an annual profit of up to $150,000.
They closed the railway station, which was in Boxing Day. Our profits halved, and we've never shown a profit since. And then running until now, at the end of June this year for our financial year, we've lost over $200,000.
The club is now looking to join a Sydney class action fighting for light rail compensation from the state government. Help that's continually been denied, much to the disbelief of Newcastle MP Tim Crackenthorpe. He's uncovered documents he claims show Transport for New South Wales has spent more than $1.2 million on promotional material for the Urban Transformation and Transport program.
They have their priorities wrong. This government should be helping small businesses through rent relief, not spending $100,000 on trying to get likes for social media.
Parliamentary Secretary for the Hunter, Scott McDonald, said the government would not apologise for informing the community of activity in the city or encouraging people to visit and support local businesses, and that the claims from Mr Crackenthorpe are proof he has no idea about what it takes to manage a major revitalisation project. Emma Murphy, NBN News.
The state government has taken aim at its federal counterparts over the handling of the Williamtown RAF base contamination scandal. In a submission to a Senate inquiry, the state government has urged the Commonwealth to compensate property owners whose land has been affected by firefighting chemicals used at the base. The federal government continues to dismiss any cancer links to the PFAS chemicals and is denying pleas for land buybacks.
The road for a local institution, with Graham Boyd Motorcycles closing its doors for the last time. After several decades in business, Mr Boyd claims something had to give, and he can no longer afford to juggle business and his passion of promoting motorsport.
It's a never take no for an answer attitude that's brought Graham Boyd success in the past, but as the veteran promoter prepares for this weekend's motocross championships, back on Maitland Road, his business has closed for the last time.
Just can't continue to throw money into something with no future in it.
A lone sign on the fence, the only hint administrators have moved in to wind up decades of trade. Unconfirmed reports suggesting creditors are owed around $150,000.
Once we have an auction and sell off all the rest of the bikes at work, they'll be covered.
And that includes staff entitlements. Former colleagues who Mr. Boyd says have been the most understanding of all.
They all brought me chocolates and yeah, they felt sorry for me.
Whether it's the entrepreneurial spirit or sheer determination, Graham Boyd has wasted no time turning to his other passion, promoting motorsport. The Australian Motocross Championships return to the Hunter, the result of a relentless drive from one of Two Wheels' most recognised identities.
The championship hasn't been here for years and it wasn't looking like it's coming back. I stuck my hand up and made sure that I brought it back to Newcastle.
Where that takes the veteran promoter in the future remains to be seen. Stephen Mount, NBN News.
The Hamilton Business Chamber is continuing its push for a bus route along Beaumont Street. It comes as a grocer closed its doors for the last time after falling on tough times soon after changes were made to the timetable.
Trent Haynes had big dreams for his grocer's store on Beaumont Street. When he opened in May last year, initially things were tough, but business picked up until the Hamilton interchange closed and Keola's Downer changed its bus timetable across Newcastle.
They used to have to catch one bus and now some of them have to catch 3 buses or 2 buses to get here.
Mr. Haynes says he just hasn't got enough business to stay afloat. So today, his dream came to an end.
I've got 4 kids and a wife, the mortgage to pay off, and it just comes down to, in the end, you've got to decide, which one do you want to lose, house or the business that have to cut your losses and go.
The Hamilton Business Chamber says it wants to see a bus service down Beaumont Street.
They still haven't listened to us, and so there's no buses going to be coming back down, so we're very disappointed with Keola's Downer.
A spokesperson for the transport company said while it's always unfortunate to hear of a small business closing, the owner has previously listed several factors for closing his doors, and that the facts simply don't support the argument that changes to the Newcastle transport network have caused the business to fail.